Chair, I'm going to go straight to the points. Firstly, Chair, let's appreciate you paying attention to the people when they are appealing to parliamentarians and public representatives to ventilate their frustrations and the maladministration that's taking place in our government. And in most cases, it's people that are within the space of government that will always blow a whistle. Be that as it may, now I'm getting to a point where when I receive these documents and I'm like, okay, but I'm worried about then priorities of the committee. And I get your frustration that you want to deal with RAF once and for all and afford an opportunity to both the CEO and the board to all state their case and bring evidence thereof, of whatever has taken place. But my worry is our priorities and the focus and things that we want to elevate, because constituting a full inquiry on an entity that's primarily focusing on less than 2% of the population. I mean, in terms of those that get affected by accidents, not necessarily their mandate. It's less than 2% people that get affected by accidents and they have to claim. Then we have people that get affected by service delivery everywhere, and they have been brought to us. Case in point, we were just recently in OR Tambo. Me and you, we agreed a lot in many things. We even brought people members of the public to come and tell us how rotten the government is and services that don't get to the people, officials that do not implement the mandate, that do not perform, but money is leaving the coffers with a speed of an eye blink. And with those matters, the Speaker also again gave us some of the municipalities where there's serious concerns of maladministration, people do not get services, projects not being finalized, to a point where nothing is getting to the people. Now, for someone who's outside this committee, and we try to explain, we are now starting an inquiry on RAF when there is municipalities that do not perform at all. And with the example I just made is that what made things worse is the recent floods that befell the Eastern Cape, and in particular KSD again in OR Tambo, where the municipality could do zero, simply because they have absolutely no capacity to do anything. Not that that capacity was not in the plan. It was in the plan, paid for, but never materialized in terms of the actual equipment being there for the people to make use of. To a point where people were only saved 6-7 hours later because we're waiting for divers and equipment and everything. That was 6 hours away in Gqeberha, in Durban, and all of those things. So I'm trying to persuade you, Chair, to say, yes, there are matters at Rafute. No one can ever argue with that. But in terms of the volume of the cases of people we see on a daily basis, I do not think it will be fair for us to have an inquiry based on an entity that's just servicing a few people. Yes, we will pay attention to it the best way we know how, but a priority of that nature, maybe if we were to be given an opportunity for all of us to say, which area should we prioritize in order for us to make an inquiry which is based on how our people are suffering out there, I wouldn't pick RAF as the most number one of them. Then number two is that the issue of the accounting standards. In the previous parliament, the issue was dealt with a lot. And RAF was cautioned and cautioned. And I remember very well when we started parliament in our first meeting, where we were getting to understand what each government institution, and in particular our wives as COPA, are going to assist us with first wife, second wife, and the third wife. Because it was AG, Treasury, and SIU. So when we met with our wives, as Tembu said, the first thing I asked our first wife was, there's a matter of RAF you people have to resolve, because we dealt with this issue. RAF is raising its own pertinent issues on the issue of accounting standards. And it's been made clear various times, Chair, and I agree with you. We cannot have a favorite that must not follow the law. The law is law. That goes without saying. But when there are issues within the scope of accountability and how the situation at RAF in particular, having been not an insurance, but money that's there sitting for whoever has an accident, which is not predetermined as well. We don't know how many accidents we'll have today. We don't know how many claims we'll have today. So if you have 1 million rand and then you have 5 million worth of accidents, there's nothing you can do. And that's what RAF has been saying. If we have 1 million and then there are claims that are above 5 million, and it's beyond their control. So in that spirit, I asked the first wife, have you now gone back to look at how best yourselves, RAF, ASB, and the executive, you can deal with this matter? Because ASB has been to Parliament to explain how can this matter be tackled, and they had the resolution on how it can be tackled. AG explained and said, yes, there can be a matter, but it's not their space. The space is ASB and the executive. And the executive also agreed that, okay, stop taking AG to court, now account, but let's engage the ASB so that it can formulate the standard which is suitable for you to account, and we don't have this matter. So this matter is a matter that has been canvassed a long time ago. And I don't think even after our inquiry we're going to resolve it, because the matter will always be there. Whether it's Collins Litswalo or it's Veronica Mente or it's Songezo Zibi, if that one of the accounting standards is not corrected, the matter is not going to go away. We can have the inquiry, but in terms of accountability, we need to resolve a matter of how does RAF account? How does it budget? How does it use its income and expenditure? How does it document it? And that's what it is. Now, here is my other problem. The same AG comes to us and say, yes, with all these issues we have in terms of our 3 areas of audit, the financial statements, there's still a huge disagreement that these people do not comply with the accounting standards on how they are drafting the financial statements. Therefore, the financial statements are not drafted up to standards. Yes, we all agree, and that must be corrected.